Hello and welcome to Neophyte.tv, the technology show for the not-so-geeky. My name is Ben Friedman, and unfortunately Heather is on vacation this week, so she will be unable to join us, but she will be back very, very soon, I promise. But today we're looking at something that's kind of exciting for me. It's right here. This is the Samsung Galaxy 2, Samsung Galaxy S2, excuse me. I can never remember if it's 2S or S2, but it's S2. So the Samsung Galaxy S2, and it's really the first Android phone that I've ever considered seriously moving away from my iPhone. Everyone knows, or most people know, I've always been a bit of an Apple fanboy. I really like the iPhones in the past, and I've tried other Android phones, the Nexus and a few others in the past, the Droid, and never thought they really lived up to everything that the iPhone could do. However, lately I've been a little upset with Apple with the whole debacle over Final Cut Pro, and if you've been following that, you know what I'm talking about. And so when we were sent this phone to look at, to review, I was really seriously considering it as a replacement for my iPhone. Well, I've been using it now for a couple of weeks, and I have to tell you, it is amazing. It'll be coming to a couple of different carriers. I believe AT&T and T-Mobile will have it. They'll probably be called different things. I don't think Verizon is getting it because they're getting the Droid Bionic or something. It's a different Android phone. But this uses Android. It uses Android called Gingerbread, which is not the latest version of Android, which is Honeycomb, but it is, and in fact, there's a new version of Android coming out. I don't know if you noticed this, but Google names all of their versions of Android after desserts. So there was Froyo, and then Gingerbread, and then also alphabetical. So E, F, G, Gingerbread, then Honeycomb, and the next one, which is supposed to come out in a month or two, is called Ice Cream Sandwich. Anyway, this is a Gingerbread phone, but it is incredible. First of all, it's got a big 4.3-inch display. It's bigger than the iPhone display. It's not as high resolution as that. But it's an AMO LED display, which is what they call it. It is super bright, and the blacks are very black. The whites are very white. It's easy to read outdoors. It is it really truly is a great display. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's beautiful and it's big. And yet this phone is actually skinnier than the iPhone, and it's actually lighter than the iPhone 4. It was the strangest thing. I picked up my iPhone 4 after using this for a couple of weeks, and it just felt really, really heavy compared to this phone. I've got the display timeout set a little short. I don't know if you notice here, this is the main screen on the Android, and one thing that you can do with Android you can't do with the iPhone is you can put all kinds of widgets on the display, so you don't just have icons. I've got the time and temperature here. When you click on the weather up here, it pulls up a nice little weather display that shows you all about the weather in my particular area. I've got in here Google search bar, something that shows me my battery life, 79% there, and all of my applications. And just like the iPhone, you can go backwards and forwards just like this. Now, as well as having a bigger display than the iPhone, it also has a dual-core processor, something that people are saying that the new iPhone, which is due out shortly, might have. But right now, it feels really fast. Compared to some of the other Android phones I've used, it's just fast and snappy. Something that had always concerned me was, would I find all the apps that I like on my current iPhone? Would I be able to find those apps on Android? Well, I would say 80 to 90% of the apps that I use are identical on the iPhone versus on Android. Things like Facebook, Twitter, those common apps. Some apps that are built in, like the Google Maps ad that's built into this phone here. Let's see if I can pull it up a little bit here. Here's our Google Maps. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but the Google Maps ad is way better on Android. Hopefully the new iPhone, the version 5, iOS 5, when it comes out, will have improvements. But quite frankly, this Maps ad is so good, you do not need a third-party mapping application. I used to buy Navigon on the iPhone to add to the iPhone because the Google Maps didn't have turn-by-turn driving directions that followed you around. It didn't have a lot of the features that the Google Maps has built in to this. Now, there are some applications that aren't quite as good on here than they are on the iPhone. One that I found out was one called a package tracking program that I really like on the iPhone. There are package tracking applications on here, but they're not as good as that one. On the other hand, there's a program on here for downloading podcasts called Dogcatcher, and which is right here. And quite frankly, it's way better than any of the podcast playing apps that I found on the iPhone. So you've got 70 to 80% of the apps that are the same on both, like Angry Birds and Facebook and Twitter and the like. And then there are some apps that are way better on this phone, some apps that are better on the iPhone. You'll definitely want to check to see which apps you use before making the jump from one to the other. Battery life is an issue. It's not as good on here as it is on the iPhone. I find that with all the stuff turned on, like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and what have you, I sometimes will get a day out of here. If I'm using it heavily, I won't quite get a day. But here's another nice feature that you can't do with an iPhone. You can pop the back off and pull the battery out very, very easily. I went on, I think it was eBay, and I managed to find a second, in fact, 2 batteries for this phone and a charger that would charge the battery up externally for about $20. Very inexpensive. And I bought it off of eBay, and that's what I do now. When I'm traveling and I'm using the phone heavily, I'll keep the second battery in my backpack, and when this gets down to 10 or 20%, usually by mid-afternoon, I can just pop the other battery in, and boom, I'm back up to 100% and have no trouble getting the rest of the day, no matter how heavily I'm using the app. So, not quite as good a battery life as the iPhone. On the other hand, you can change the battery on here, which is quite a nice perk. Another thing that I'll point out while I'm open here is there's a spot for an XD card. So there's 16 gigs of memory inside this machine, but I've got another 16, or I could put a 32 gig SD card in here to further expand the memory. And of course, if you need to, you could swap cards in and out. If you want to have, if you're going on a trip with your kids, you could put a card in that had a lot of kids' movies on it. And then when you go back to work, you could pull that card out, put it aside, and put one with all of your media and files that you want to have on there. Very easy to pop this back off. Again, it goes on like that. It did take me a little bit of time to convert over. The camera on here is 8 megapixels, which is a higher quality camera than the iPhone. But quite frankly, I think the iPhone takes better photos, at least outdoors. This one has a better flash, so if you're taking indoors or night shots, the flash is quite a bit better on this phone. But if you are taking outdoor pictures, I like the iPhone's phone better. This will take 1080p video, whereas the iPhone currently only takes 720p. Again, they're pretty comparable. I think the video looks about the same. A tiny little sensor like this, recording 1080p video, I don't know if you're getting full resolution out of that anyway. But I got to tell you, I've been very, very impressed with the phone. Very impressed with Android, this new version. Another thing I love is the notification system. Rather than just having one window that pops up, and when you click it, it's gone. Here you've got a great notification system that you can pull down. I don't know if you can see. Slide it up like that. It goes away. Pull it down like so. And you've got all your notifications, whether it's missed calls, voicemails, apps that are running in the background, what things are turned on, what things aren't turned on. So you've got a definite better status panel. Again, something they're talking about fixing with the iOS 5 or one of the later iOS versions, but we haven't seen yet. Hopefully, this will probably air in a week or two after we actually shoot this. I don't know if the iPhone will be out by then, but I doubt it. I think it's supposed to be out around October sometime. So, just to summarize, this is the first time, I think, that Apple is actually now playing catch-up to the Android people. Android has features in it like the fact that you can enter voice commands anywhere. On the Apple iOS 4, you can enter voice commands with a separate app like drag and dictate and then copy and paste that. But here there's built-in voice to text. So no matter where you are, if you're writing an email, if you're entering contacts, if you are sending an SMS message, you can hit the voice button, talk to it, and it will convert that to text no matter where you are. Something, again, that iOS doesn't yet do, although they're talking about putting that in the next version. So it's interesting. This is the first time, I think, that Apple is really having to play catch-up to the features that are available now. And the hardware is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. It's light. It fits in the pocket easily. The screen is gorgeous. Works incredibly well. I can't say enough good things about this phone. So that is the Samsung Galaxy S2. Just been released. It's coming out on a couple of different carriers. Definitely worth taking a look at if you're looking for an alternative to the iPhone, or if you're coming up from a previous smartphone and you want to upgrade to the latest and greatest. That's all the time we have for this week. But go to our website, www.neo-fight.tv. Let us know what you think. How do you feel about the latest Android version? Would it be enough to move you from your iPhone if you're an iPhone user, or are you waiting for the iPhone 5 to come out and to see how well that does compared to some of these new Android phones? Or go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/neophyte, and like us there to be entered to win some of the stuff that we review, and we'd love to talk to you on Facebook as well. That's all the time we have for today. Heather will be back next time, but in the meantime, we look forward to seeing you in the next episode, and if you have an extra 30 seconds, take a look at this. If you need to make recordings of your computer screen, there's no better tool than Camtasia from TechSmith. In fact, you're watching a screen recording of this video right now.
Camtasia can record your screen, your webcam, and high-quality audio at the same time. It's perfect for training, presentations, podcasts, or any time you need to show what's going on your computer.
Camtasia is easy to use, but it's also extremely powerful. You can turn your screen recordings into high-quality polished video in no time and share them with the world.
And Camtasia is available for the Mac and PCs. If you need to make screen recordings to educate, train, or sell, there's no better tool than Camtasia from TechSmith.